obviously from Tarte today. It's the Sea Shadow palette. It does come with a brush, but let me just tell you this. This is Tarte's cult favorite. Why is that, Lee?
It is. So this is an eyeshadow formula that's so amazing. So here's the thing with this. I'll tell you how eyeshadow are usually developed, right? Usually brands will pick a shadow formula that's powder from a lab, and they put their name on it and they ship it out the door, and that's it. It's not anything special, right? Okay, the ingredients aren't anything that unique or different. With this, what we did is we built this formulation ingredient by ingredient. So I want you to see the shades on the back of my hand while I tell you about this formulation. So look at the finish, look at how creamy these are. What we did is we actually built an eyeshadow formula that's half cream and half powder. So it pours as a cream and then dries down to this incredible powder. I'm gonna show you how to use these shades, but here's the thing about this. You're getting a primer, you're getting an eyeshadow, and you're getting your liner in one palette. And oh wait, you're getting 8 shades.
Yeah, say that again. You're getting your primer, your shadow, and your liner.
And your liner, yep, in one formula, in one palette. So this palette is amazing because let's face it, like we don't want to have a makeup bag that's 60 pounds. We want it to be kind of streamlined and be able to go to like a few products that do everything that we need, right? That's what this is going to do. You've got your shades that you can use as liner. You've got your transition colors, which I'm going to tell you about in a minute. You've got your highlight shades. I mean, your neutrals. You've got everything in here.
Well, Lee, we have a great question in the chat from JM already. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about when I say we have a great question in the chat, well, I will just show you what I mean. So here we are on the Beauty IQ Facebook page, and we're live in the studio right now. We are totally live. Anything goes, right? I mean, we're live 8 p.m. to midnight tonight, and in fact Wednesday through Sunday, which means we're also live streaming on Facebook, which means when you ask us a question, we're getting it in live time and we're going to answer it in live time. So I'm going to read this question from the chat, and please feel free to join us in the chat. We love having all of our Beauty IQs in there, and it's from JM, and JM says, can you wet the shadows for a liner? I'm going to do a follow-up question to that.
Okay.
Lee, do we have to wet the shadows to make a liner?
You don't even have to wet them, which is the beautiful thing about this. So you can literally just dip your liner brush. I recommend a nice, small, precise brush right into the formula, like these dark shades here, and you're gonna have a perfect creamy liner. I'm gonna show you actually how to do that in just a minute.
Perfect.
But I'm gonna dive in, right? So this is the thing here. You don't need to use a primer. I'm gonna use this light shade right now.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna go ahead and just apply this all over this lid. I already started on the other side, so I'm gonna even out my other lid. And I always recommend using a color like this that literally just looks exactly like your skin tone to even everything out. So what that's gonna do is it's gonna allow all the shadow that you then layer on top of that to grab on, layer, and blend beautifully. Okay. So again, this has got the primer built in, so you don't need to use a primer, you just wanna do that step.
Awesome. That's a great tip right there. Just start with your skin color. So easy enough.
That's always first. No
Check
matter
off the list.
Right. No matter if you're doing a light neutral look or you're doing something that's, you know, more dramatic and smoky, you always want to use that base layer shade because that's what everything is going to grab onto.
Okay.
So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use what we call a transition color. And what this is the next shade that you put on in the look that I'm creating that just kind of sets the lid back and creates dimension and definition.
Okay, and I also noticed that you're using the fluffier side of the brush. It's a dual-sided brush, which comes with the steel, you guys, but you're using the fluffier side, and why is that?
So I'm using a fluffy brush right now because I just want to do a very light kind of blend. Remember, this is what everything else is going to grab onto, so I'm just blending that into the space in between my lid and basically my brow bone, just like that.
Ooh, that looks pretty already.
So I start at the outer corner and then I bring it all the way in just like that.
So isn't it amazing that you're getting skin-loving ingredients for the most delicate part of your face?
Isn't it amazing? I love that you just said that because the lids next to your lips are the thinnest skin on your body. So they're gonna age first. And if you have dry lids or if you have sensitive eyes, it can be hard to find a formula that can go on and stay on, blend beautifully and not irritate your eyes, right? It can be a challenge. So we've done it all, we've put it all together here.
Okay.
So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and highlight my inner corner. And I know that sounds like, shouldn't you do that last? But I do it first. It's just a matter of preference for me because then I know where I'm blending all of my other colors into. So what I'm doing is I'm mixing these two shades. So I'm mixing this gold shade here and this really light like pearl highlight together.
Can you show us the gold one more time? We just kind of missed it. There we go. Yeah, gold. Okay.
The gold and then that pearl shade.
Ooh, nice.
And I just love to mix those to put right into my inner highlight. And
now, how many of these have shimmer?
So they all have shimmer actually except 3. So that's
Got
what,
it.
4 and 3, 6,
Yep.
7, 8. Yeah, math is not my strong point.
Hey, no one's judging. No one's judging.
Shadow on the other hand,
We're not here for algebra class. Let's put it that way.
Okay, good.
Plus
So now-
beauty school's on Sunday.
So I'm just now blending this right onto the top of my brow bone. Again, that's my highlight shade.
Ooh, that looks pretty.
And just look at how easily these blend. I mean, I've tried probably every powder shadow on the market, and I know with powder shadow, usually what you need to do is you need to blend it, you need to put layer upon layer over, and then sometimes it kind of like looks chalky and it doesn't give you the finish that you want. So here you're just getting this amazing, I like to call it like a sensorial application and sensorial finish,
Oh, I like that.
because it really just feels like that when you put it on.
Well, and
right?
it's interesting because as I'm watching you apply this, if you asked me, like if I didn't know how you were applying it and you said, do you think I'm wearing a powder or a cream? I would have a really hard time figuring it out.
Right? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's such a good point. Because it just blends so beautifully and so easily. And I don't know if you can see kind of the swatches on the back of my hand as I'm applying this, but you can see how beautiful the pigmentation is. And now what I'm doing is I'm taking that darker shade and I'm just tracing what we call the crease. So I'm using that flat side of the brush that comes with the palette, which is fabulous. I'm digging it into this really beautiful, like burgundy, not burgundy, it's like a deep brown / blue color. And I'm just tracing now my crease like that. Focusing on the
pretty.
outer corner.
Look how easily it's blending too.
Right? Like I'm not pulling, I'm not tugging, I'm just getting really nice pigment payoff, which is what you want. Because what are like our frustrations usually with powder shadow?
Well, first of all, I have a hard time sometimes blending with powder shadow. You know, sometimes it kind of pulls a little bit, kind of streaky and whatnot. Also, sometimes it creases throughout the day. That's kind of crummy.
Right, and I think, you know, with all the makeup tricks that we kind of see, I mean, you were at CEW yesterday, so you know, it's all about kind of getting that shadow, like that blended look, right? So whether you're using a few colors or maybe you just want to use one, right? So I've used 3 now. I've used 4. I've used my base color, I've used my highlight shades, my transition, my crease color, which I'm just going to blend a little bit more. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that shade that I started out with. So that base color, I'm using the same brush, not even cleaning it, and I'm just gonna pop that onto this. I'm gonna take a little bit of the gold too, actually. I'm just gonna pop that right onto my lid to give some extra definition.
That looks nice.
So this is like super easy, right? I mean,
Yeah, and the thing is, if you want to make it a little bit more dramatic, can you just punch it up even more?
you definitely can. So I can take like maybe this blue shade on the right here with the tighter side of the brush, and I can just pack a little bit more of that blue shade right onto that outer corner to just amp up the drama if I wanted.
I really think this is something we could achieve at home. And the fact of the matter is that you've only used one palette and the brush that comes with it. I just think like it couldn't be easier. And here's the other thing, guys. If you watch Lee do this now and you're wondering, okay, when I get this home, am I gonna be able to do it? You can always jump back on beautyiq.com and you can watch videos.
Which is the best part, right? Because I feel like
Definitely.
you see it and then you're like, well, wait a minute, which step did I miss? So now what I just did is I took that fluffier blending brush and I just blended everything together. So now I want to show you what I think is like the most fun part.
Okay.
And that's that you can use these as a liner.
Okay, so I just wanna be clear. Now you're using this as a liner, but you did not wet your brush.
Nope, I'm not wetting my brush.
Okay.
I am using a different brush though. So this is a small liner brush. Probably have one of these at home.
Okay.
It's just nice and precise. I'm not wetting the brush. I'm just getting a nice amount of pigment loaded right up on there.
Okay, so
And-
Beauty IQties, did you hear that? Because we had a couple questions in the chat about can you use this as a liner? You absolutely can, and you don't have to wet it. Can you if you want to, Lee?
You can, but honestly, you won't need to. You'll
Okay.
try it and just find, like, look at that pigment.
Right.
That's without a wet brush. I'm just gonna take a little bit of that and just connect kind of my crease shade.
Okay.
But you don't even really need to wet the brush, which I love. And I'm just using a
gorgeous.
really light pressure. So I'm not dragging this. I'm not irritating my eye at all. I'm just adding it right to that lower lash line. Gonna add a little bit more over here. And Elise, I've seen probably every palette on the market and then some, right? In my job, which is amazing.
I'm sure you have 9 years just with this company, but how many years in beauty?
Exactly. In beauty, close to 15, half my life. Yeah, so
That's awesome.
it's my passion, it's what I love. And so the thing here is that this palette, once I got this, it has everything that I need. You know, Elise, as women, don't you find that sometimes like we kind of grab like, I like one color from one palette,
Yes.
or I like one color that's a single shadow, and then you find your whole makeup bag is filled with a bunch of different things, and you use different colors from each of the palettes. This kind of has everything that you need built right in, which I love.
Well, I would
Convenience
say,
factor.
that's one of the many reasons why this would be a Tarte cult favorite. Something doesn't become a cult favorite by accident.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Especially with all the makeup out there today. And boy, did I see a lot of makeup yesterday. So something doesn't become a cult favorite. It was amazing. It was like I entered Candyland. It was so amazing. But okay, so let's talk about our steal. So here's the deal, you guys. Come on in and I'll just show you. So 4 of these have shimmer and 4 of them do not. So there were a couple questions in the chat about that. And if you're worried about wearing shimmer, Beauty Eye Cuties, this is not your teenage daughter's shimmer with glitter and whatnot. This is a very sophisticated, beautiful radiance and luminosity type shimmer. Remember, it has a beautiful part cream, part powder type formulation to this. And then check out the brush that comes with it as well. So you've got 2 sides to the brush. There is your kind of smaller, more, precision type angle, and then here is the fluffier side. All right, so 2 sides comes with it. So let's talk about value for just a second. You're getting 8 different shades here plus a dual-sided brush, and please don't take the brush lightly because Tarte's brushes are out of this world. So normally just the palette alone would be $36, but you're getting the palette and the brush today for $29 and change. And here's something else that we do that's really cool here at Beauty IQ. We have this thing where you can break up your payments on specific items. So when you go to beautyiq.com and you check out our steal, which is only good for 24 hours, by the way, or while the steal lasts, while the product is still in stock, when you go there, you'll see an option in this case to pick it up and pay for it over the next 2 months. So what does that mean for you? That means you can get the steal home, you can try the tutorial that Lee just taught you, and you can try that for $14.99. That's how, so you get it home for $14.99. If you try it for 30 days and you totally love it and you want to keep it, you pay another $14.99 and then poof, you're done. All right? So that's how it works. If you want to order by phone, there is a phone number right there as well, that 1-800 number. All right, Lee, so we've used this as our primer, we've used it as our shadow, and we've used it as our liner. Any other tips or tricks for us?
So I just wanted to, I'm gonna add a little bit more liner here, but I did just
that's
want to.
looking good.
Thank you. And it was so quick and easy, right? Like, I just want to show you the shades again, because while my look is a little bit more dramatic, maybe smoky, the thing here is that it doesn't necessarily need to be. You're getting the option here to do everything from evening out any discoloration on the lid to maybe a light, neutral, everyday look. Maybe you're just going to use a little bit of that in the crease and maybe that to highlight the inner corner. Or you can go here and you can go smoky and you can use them as liner. This is really putting you in control, and it just gives you the option to create so many different looks. But here's the thing, Elise, and let me know if you agree. There's not a color here that you will not use.
Oh yeah, totally. I
Right?
mean, I have those palettes where you're like, okay, I used 3 out of the 10 colors in the palette or whatever. And you can tell because you're like reaching pan on 3 colors only. This is one of those palettes where every color matters. Every color is year round. And once again, I know I just said it, but you guys, something doesn't become a cult favorite unless it totally rocks. So look at those beautiful colors. Something for everybody in there. And I love the fact that you can take just this palette from a complete daytime natural look all the way up to that really rich smoky eye look if you want to for nighttime. Wow, gorge. And I'm just going to show this too.
Oh, I love that.
Look at
See,
that.
Look at that pigment.
Look at that pigment. Isn't that beautiful?
And that's because we build the formula literally ingredient by ingredient, which is so different than what other brands are doing right now in makeup.
One question for you too. I know we were talking a little bit before the show. Sometimes I know a lot of my makeup artist friends really like to get in there with their fingers. Will this work if you just want to use your fingers versus the brush?
Oh yes, I got so carried away, I forgot to mention that.
Okay.
You don't even need a brush with this formula because
Even though you get one.
even though you get one, the brush is great when you want to do some more precise work, right? Like if you want to add to the crease or you want to add liner. But if you just want to swipe this right over your lid, guess what? You don't even need that brush because you just showed us, Elise, how rich the pigmentation is.
And I honestly, I mean, you saw I did like rub, rub, rub. 1, 2, 3.
And that was it. It was
and
like,
that
whoop,
was it. It was just
pigment.
1, 2, 3, boom. Look at that, isn't that pretty? All right, you guys, so this is our Beauty IQ steal. So the good news is the value's crazy. It's an incredible deal. It's like, we're so crazy about this that we call it a steal. The bad news is that it only lasts while supplies last or for 24 hours. But the good news is that we have a new steal again tomorrow at 8 p.m. So you don't want to miss out on this one. All right.